Number one was the super slots. Now, what I'm looking for here, as I said earlier, is a player that can be a dynamic difference maker, someone that you have to game plan for in the slot, someone that has the speed to stretch the field, someone that can work the middle of the field, work the crossers, work as a route runner, find him the ability to get open over the middle of the field. That's so important in today's game. And number three, he's got to be somebody that ideally that's dynamic after the catch. Now, if a guy's really dynamic as a route runner, has really electric speed, then you can get away with him not being necessarily an after the catch guy. What I mean after the catch is not a speed guy that can catch a slant and outrun people. I'm talking about a guy that can catch a bubble screen, make people miss, and also honestly kind of part running back. So let's kind of look at three slot players that are on the board for Notre Dame and talk about where Notre Dame is right now. Number one is Chicago St. Rita standout Kaleb Brown. Now, right now, he is an Ohio State lean, and Notre Dame is well down his list. But this is an absolute stud football player. He didn't play as a junior. Even if you just go off sophomore film, he is exactly what I look for in the slot. Part running back, part wide receiver. Very strong, well-built, dynamic with the ball in his hands, can stretch the field. Once he gets the ball, whether it's as a running back, which he'll do in high school, or as a wide receiver, once he gets the ball in his hands as a return man, he turns into a running back. And I love slots like that. I love guys like that. I think that's what you need to kind of have that explosive playmaking in your offense where every single play, that guy's a threat to score no matter the type of route you get him the ball at. Now, for Notre Dame right now, they're way behind. Tommy Rees is putting in work with him. We've had people talk to Kaleb Brown. We know people that know Kaleb Brown. Tommy Rees is putting in work, but the unfortunate thing is he is not connected really often or well with Coach Alexander. So they're behind right now. It's still early, so there's time for Notre Dame to really turn the full court press on. But the reality is this is going to have to be a full staff effort. My fear is that Notre Dame's just going to kind of bow out and focus on other places. I think that would be a mistake. We talk all the time about how Notre Dame can't recruit with the Southern schools for Southern athletes and all these types of things. And, you can't get these kids that have good grades or whatever else. This is one of the best athletes in the country, one of the most dynamic athletes in the country, and he's from Chicago. He's from the Chicago Catholic League. There's no excuse for Notre Dame not to be more of a player here, and hopefully they can recover and get back in it. Number two at this spot is Kaden Saunders. He's from Westerville, Ohio. He goes to Westerville South. Now, currently, Kaden is a Penn State commit, but he's still talking to Notre Dame. They're still talking to him. He's still listening. There's some interest there. There's other programs that are recruiting him. This is going to be another tough one. He was a guy that, again, Tommy Rees put a lot of work in for, but we didn't see that same level of work from other people involved in his recruitment, and that's why he chose Penn State, even though a lot of people felt early on Notre Dame was his leader. So, but they're back in it. They're still in it, and they have a shot with him. Now, Kaden Saunders is a little bit different than Kaleb Brown. He's not as big. He's shorter. He's a little skinnier. And he's more of a vertical player. He's more of a traditional wide receiver than Kaleb Brown. He's not that part running back kind of player. But the reason that I still say he would be one of those super slots, one of those game changers, is because he has dynamic speed. He is a fast athlete. He's the kind of guy that can catch a slant and turn it into a big play. He's the kind of guy that can catch a crosser and just outrun the defense. He can work the schemes, get over top of the defense, really be dynamic on corner routes, and be an after the catch guy from a speed standpoint where he just outruns you as a route runner. He also has really exceptional feet, and that allows him to be a good route runner now in high school, but with work, with the right coaching, he could be an exceptional route runner. And if you want a comparison, he's kind of part Jalen Waddle, part Devontae Smith. Now, I'm not saying he's as good as those players, but what I'm talking about is he sort of has the route running ability of Devontae Smith, that foot quickness, that agility, that potential as a route runner, but he also has some game-changing speed that I don't think Devontae Smith had game-changing. He's plenty fast, but he's more like a Jalen Waddle in that you just have to worry about the speed all the time. Again, not saying he's as dynamic. I'm talking more style of play than I am talking about necessarily being that level of dynamic athlete. But I do think he is someone who at Notre Dame could be a difference maker because of his speed. Now, they're both relatively highly ranked. Kaleb Brown's a top 100 recruit. Kaden Saunders is more of a top 150 to 200 type of recruit. I think he should be higher than that. But there's another player on the board that is not highly ranked. He's a 3-star recruit. His offer list is incredibly unimpressive. But he, to me, would be in this group, and that is Xavion Bradshaw from Bluefield, Virginia. Now, he plays way out in Western Virginia. He's on the border of another state. I mean, he's closer to, Tennessee and West Virginia than he is to Richmond or Virginia Beach, where a lot of the top players are in the state. He's the son of Ahmed Bradshaw, who used to play running back for the New York Giants. Look, if you're someone like me that really doesn't care about recruiting rankings, you look at the tape, this is a kid that could be a difference maker for Notre Dame. It's still very early in the recruiting process for him. He doesn't appear to be any kind of rush. We've tried to reach out to him. You're going to love this. We've tried to reach out to him, and he a lot of times his response is he can't talk at that time because he's doing homework. He's working on school stuff. So you always love that. But when you just talk about what does the tape tell you, forget the recruiting rankings, forget the offer list. What does the tape tell you? The tape tells me this is a dynamic football player. When I watch him play, it's sometimes, I don't love comparisons. I'm doing them more and more now because people ask for them. I don't really like doing them because I feel like it's unfair to compare a high school player to somebody who's already an established player. But when I'm watching Xavion Bradshaw, I couldn't help think, just constantly pop in my head, this guy reminds me so much of Peter Warrick, but with a little bit more speed. Peter Warrick, you remember, was a Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver at Florida State. He was also a dynamic dynamic receiver, but also a dynamic return man. And Xavion Bradshaw is that kind of player. He has exactly what I'm looking for. He's more like a Kaleb Brown than he is a Kaden Saunders. He's a guy that can take a bubble screen, make a guy miss, get upfield, and has that acceleration, that burst to be a home run player. You watch him on special teams. He gets that punt. He can make the first couple guys miss, and then boom, he is gone. He is turning on the jets, and he is getting upfield for home runs. So he has that kind of game changer type of ability. And he's a quality route runner. For his age, he's a quality route runner. So there's really no skills that I don't see. I don't know quite how big he is. He looks to be 5'11". He's listed at 6 foot. I don't know if that's true. I mean, it's sophomore film we're working off of. But even sophomore film, this is a really, really dynamic player. And if Notre Dame could get one of these 3 players, I know that if they got Bradshaw, it wouldn't necessarily reflect on the rankings. Kaden Saunders really wouldn't be a needle mover from a ranking standpoint. But the fact is these 3 kids can play. They're all dynamic. They all bring a skill set that Notre Dame needs more of. And to me, they would all be needle movers if they were able to get them. And I know that especially with Bradshaw, it wouldn't be a sexy pickup for people who care about whether it's 5-star, 4-star. But this is the kind of kid. This is how I felt about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah when Notre Dame got him. Remember, I gave him 4.5-star upside coming out of high school because I said, yeah, I know he's not highly ranked. I know where he plays. I know he's a little undersized right now, but this kid has the athleticism you need to be an outstanding player at Notre Dame, and that's exactly what he became. So Bradshaw can be that kind of guy. Now, whether or not Notre Dame can get any of these 3 guys remains to be seen. They're in the mix with all of them to some degree. I would like to see them still push for Brown, but definitely Saunders. And honestly, if I had to choose between the 2, Saunders and Xavion Bradshaw, I'd probably lean towards Bradshaw because I think that fact that he has some of that running back ability in him, I really, really love. But if you could take both of them, if you can, I mean, that's what I would do if I was Notre Dame. Take both of them if you can get both of them. But Bradshaw could be a real big time difference maker for Notre Dame.